Hi, my name is Nico Slate. I'm a professor in the Department of History at Carnegie Mellon University, and I'm excited to talk with you about Social Change 101. Social Change 101 is a free, open access online course on the history of social movements and social change, and a free workshop series that engages high school students in the resources that are available online and empowers them to create new resources. I'm just going to walk you through some of the things that we've created. First, as we scroll down from the main web page, you come to the backbone of the course, which is a series of historical and interdisciplinary investigations in the history of social movements and social change. If you click on Project Site here, it will take you to the series of resources. We call them modules. And we decided to divide these based on key figures in history. This was a difficult choice for us because a lot of what we want students to recognize and learn from our resources is how much history is created from the bottom up, and how many of the most important things that have happened in the past and many of the most important social movements in our world today are being driven by people you've never heard of. But we understand that many people are more easily introduced to the history of social movements by engaging them with the lives of key figures that they're already somewhat familiar with, and hopefully what we aim to do is to take those familiar figures and defamiliarize them. So our 5 figures are Andrew Carnegie, not surprisingly, Rachel Carson, Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks, and Albert Einstein. And what you can do is engage videos, or if you click on a figure, why don't we do Rachel Carson? If you click here, we'll go to the Rachel Carson part of the website, and you see there's a unit map that shows you the different key units that we have. And each unit will have an introductory video that involves both a little bit of me talking, but also quite a bit of animation and historical photos. And as you scroll down, there's a series of interactive resources. So there's text, there's tools, there's maps, there's games, and there's also discussion questions and other resources. These are for anyone to use, but especially for teachers who might want to use these resources in the classroom. So you'll see each module has this range of tools and resources, some of which are specifically on the past, many of which connect the past to the present. So here we see Ella Bhatt, who's a very important social activist, environmental activist, and feminist in contemporary India. And what we're doing here is connecting the legacy of Rachel Carson to the work that Ella Bhatt is doing in the world today. A lot of these materials were created collaboratively. I worked very closely with a wonderful animator and illustrator named Michael Pisano, who helped design everything on the website. And we had a team of folks that worked with us, including an animator, M. DeMarco, animator and journalist who created this particular cartoon and several others that are on the website, and a whole team of Carnegie Mellon students as well that worked with us. So this is part of Social Change 101, these resources that are structured by particular figures. We also have workshops. Now, the workshops were designed specifically to bring this resource to people who might not otherwise engage it. One of the problems with digital resources is that they're often giving wonderful educational tools to people that already have access to such tools. Many of the people in this country or in other parts of the world that are most in need of these kinds of educational opportunities don't have ready access to them. So when we created Social Change 101, we also created a workshop series where we engaged first with NGOs and then later schools, predominantly here in Pittsburgh and Western PA, although we've done some workshops in other parts of the country and even abroad as well. This was one of our first workshops with the Arts Greenhouse, which is a hip-hop music education program that allows teens to write and record their own hip-hop music. And what we did, and this is the basic approach we have to all our workshops, is that we taught these young people how to use videography, to tell their own stories. And we talked with them about the issues that they care most about in the world and help them connect those issues to some of the historical resources that are already on our website. And then we allowed them to create videos. So these videos that you see here are videos that were created predominantly by students themselves with some help from Michael Pisano and others. But there are opportunities for these young people to reflect more on what they're doing, who they are, what they care about, and how that connects to history. So if you go to our website, you see a series of featured workshops, including some that are done at schools. Here's one that was done at a local high school with a Spanish class. And you can see how we approach our workshops. We don't have all of the workshops up online, but we put a lot of them up there so that people can see how we approach this kind of educational resource. All right, I'm going to jump back to the main Social Change 101 page, if I can. Let's see. All right, this is taking us back to the main educational resource. All right, I might have to click out for a minute. So if we go to back to the main Social Change 101 page. Excellent. And you scroll down beyond the History of Social Change Backbone course, you get to a few other key projects that we've done. And these projects are also collaborative. We've built them in partnership with local high school students and teachers and nonprofits. One of my favorites, let me walk you through all of them because I think if I leave, we might have a hard time coming back. But let me walk you through all of them, and then I'll show you my favorite. This is a interactive map on the neighborhood of Larimer. Larimer is a neighborhood in Pittsburgh that was once a really thriving community but has lost many of its residents. It's a historically African-American neighborhood that in 2014 won a $30 million grant from the federal government in order to redevelop without pushing people out, without gentrifying. That's the challenge. How do you improve the neighborhood without making the people who live there have to leave? And what we did is worked with students, some of whom are from that neighborhood, to tell the story of the neighborhood by interviewing many different people and mapping their work on an interactive map. I'll show you that in a minute. Let me just show you a few of the other things we've done. This is one called Mapping Gandhi, in which we partnered with an NGO in rural India to tell the story of Gandhi in that part of India. This is where Gandhi's last ashram was located, and to connect that history to the contemporary efforts of the NGO, which is a really remarkable group of people who are fighting against poverty in that part of rural India. Let me go to the Larimer project and show you what that looks like. Both of these projects, the Larimer project and Mapping Gandhi, are using maps to help people conceive of how social change is happening, not necessarily as a success story. In fact, both efforts are critical in some ways, are trying to show some of the problems and the difficulties involved. So we start with this question: how does a neighborhood change so that everyone benefits? If you scroll down, you get text, you get some introductory videos, and then you get the map, which is sort of the backbone of the project. You can see here part of the challenge, part of the pressure, is that this area, this historically African-American neighborhood that is quite low income, is now the home to a major development project that involves a Google headquarters and other things here in Bakery Square. If you click here, you'd learn more about that particular initiative. Let's go and learn about the Kingsley Association, which is a very vibrant community center located in Larimer. You get to hear from one of my favorite people in the world, Felicia Savage Friedman, who talks about her work at the Kingsley Center. And you can also just scroll up and down to learn about the Larimer Community Garden, about the local elementary school, all of the different community organizations and individuals, many of whom are fighting to help this neighborhood thrive in a way that doesn't force the residents out. So all of the things we do at Social Change 101 are aimed to help people learn about the history of social movements and connect that history to the contemporary world. I hope you have the opportunity to use the resource. We're always eager for feedback. There's contact forms on the website. Thank you very much.